Welcome back, gamers. You've been asking, so we're bringing it in, the weapon tier list for Season 22. Now, before we get started, we got almost every gun in this clip, so you knew we played with them all. As a disclaimer, any gun can work for any individual. This is for the novice, the person just getting ranked, the person trying to get their first master's badge. This is for you, buddy. This is for you. Now, I want to be fair. It feels very balanced. We're going to go from the C tier to the OP tier. CBAOP. Okay, that's what we're doing. So let's not waste any time. We're going to get right into it right now. First up, we got the C tier. We've got the single 2020 in Mozambique. While they are still really solid as solos, the fact that you can pick up 2 of them means that's the only reason you should be using them. On top of that, we have the RE45. It just doesn't do as much damage close range as everything else does right now with the buffs. So for that reason, avoid using these 3 if possible. Like I said, they will do all right, but you can avoid them. Next up, we got the B tier. Inside the B tier are all of the snipers. The 30-30, Scout, Rampage, and Spitfire. But let me tell you why. Relax. Most of the reviews we've done are all in rank, so we're going to go off what the rank meta really feels like. And for that reason, let me hit you on why the snipers are just not as good as you wish they'd be. Number one, the first reason all the snipers don't do great is most of the time your team's ability to close the gap in solo queue ranked is very, very challenging. On top of that, if you end up in a third party, you're just putting yourself a little bit at a disadvantage without a defensive comp to stop and have to have a close range sniper to finish out a fight. Like I said, you can pull it off, and I play lots of games where I play with a sniper. It just feels like it puts me at a disadvantage when there are other people inside the third party zone. The charge rifle has slowed down way too much, so just take that thing out of your kit. It's just too slow right now. And to be fair, the longbow's always been decent, and maybe that would be the best one I'd recommend, that and the Sentinel, because they are pretty decent at hip fire. But if your team is not pushing, this example, you can see neither one of my teammates are moving whatsoever. It just puts you at a disadvantage. Now listen, I know some of you love the sniper. Keep on sniping, boys. The Rampage is also C tier just because without the thermite, it just feels a little underwhelming at times. I've never been a big user. If there's any comment you're going to rip me on, it's you Rampage users that love this gun. For me, I feel like I'm severely handicapped when I don't have this thing charged up. The Scout's one of my favorite guns, but I still just think it's C tier because close range, you're just at a pretty big disadvantage when the third parties happen. We're talking about the meta being so quick, it's fight after fight after fight. You hear that, me snip my fingers? Now, like I said, you can pull it off depending on your team comp, but it does put you at a slight disadvantage close range, and for that reason, we're leaving it in the C tier. Last up in the C tier, we got the big old boy 30-30. Now, while this thing does not do as much damage as it used to, it's still a decent gun. I don't like that it shoots so slow. 39 on one clip isn't great. You get punished by missing shots. For that reason, it's C tier. Bring back Skull Piercer, and guess what? We're ranking them right back in the middle. Here's where the guns start to get good. Guns you could pick up and most likely take to the end game. First one up is the Wingman. Number one reason this one doesn't make it any higher is because as the game goes on later, there may be more distance. While the Wingman is great early game, first item to pick up, it does fade off a little late game because you need a little bit more range at times. And so for that reason, we got it. There's still an excellent gun. I love it. Always a go-to pickup item to take the first initiating fight. But after that, we're most likely passing up to find one of our S tier or OP tier weapons. Next up, we got the Car, a great gun. Probably could most likely be your secondary gun just because you have the ability to pick up light or heavy attachments. The Car is very consistent. However, I am on mouse and keyboard, so most of the time I'm bypassing this for a shotgun, which feels more reliable with consistent aim, but still a solid pick, very reliable, get 2 stacks of ammo for it, so it's a win for sure. This is one of my favorite guns early game. It's the triple take. This thing can be used both as a shotgun and a sniper at the same time, and it puts out some massive damage early game. Yes, you do have to charge it and learn it a little bit. However, you can use it and it is super reliable across every single game. Now, if you feel like you're that guy that needs to always be sniping, I believe you can take it in game. However, very early, very strong gun. And the best part about this gun is it really doesn't require any attachments to be any stronger. See, we just used that guy for 102, then the other guy for 62. So you just don't need attachments to make this thing strong. It's strong off the rip. And last up for part 1, we got the alternator. Well, like I said, a very strong gun you can pick up early and be pretty good with. It does require aim, and it's got to be pretty consistent. While you can pick up our S tier and OP tier items for close range, this just really misses the spot late game. And like I said, it's not strong. You do need all the attachments to make it pretty good. So I'm just not personally a fan of it. I'm sure some of you in the comments are going to rip me, and for that, I'm mad. Before we continue, we just want to say we thank you so much for watching these videos. We greatly appreciate it. And any subscriber that wants to play gets to play. We hope to rank most of you up and teach you to continue improving Apex. It's free and we will greatly appreciate it. So don't forget to hit it, and let's get back into the video. Next, we got the Hemlock. Took a slight nerf, still a really strong gun, but this one's most likely still in the B tier just because of the slight nerf. I agree though, if this is one of your go-to guns last season, you're most likely still playing with it and doing very well. It's just probably not at the top of the list for some of our S and OP tier items. Next up, we got the Prowler. Still a really strong weapon, not much has changed to it, but like I said, some of our close range weapons are just much better this season. We're gonna get to them. Chill out, we're gonna get to them. And we didn't necessarily cover it here because I don't pick it up ever, but the Spitfire will be the last one in the B tier. I'm not a huge fan of it. I honestly would avoid it at all costs if I see it. I know some of you like it, but to me, I can't stand the sound of it. Think it salutes a little too slow, and without some attachments, that gun early game just straight up sucks. Right up there with our old buddy Mirage. We can't stand him either. First up in the A tier, we got the 301, and it's back, baby. Damage wasn't changed, but we do have extra bullets in the mags, so it is most definitely a much better gun early. When you get the purple or gold mag, you're just going to straight fry people. It's been a while since you practiced with the EVA, but it's back, baby. You need to get the hip fire a little bit under control because you will whiff a ton of shots because it's been so long since we played with it. But I will tell you what, pick this thing back up. It is super solid. Just put some time back in. Solid gun to have. One of the better shotguns. In my opinion, the Volt has always been one of the most consistent on any input. This thing continues to fry every single season. This has got to be a top pick. If you're not a shotgun user, this has got to be one of your picks anytime you see it. Mag size doesn't matter. The laser sight doesn't matter. This thing is just as consistent, and it's almost like the 301 for mouse and keyboard for everybody for close range. Also, if I'm not taking a PK, I'm usually taking a Volt. Next up, we got the Bocek. This thing's always continued to be pretty strong. Those are the people that are marksmen that love this type of gun. This is for you. We probably will never take this out of this tier unless it comes back to ground loot, but for now, still a strong weapon. If you find the care package, pick this thing up and take it. Next up, we got the L-Star. The L-Star is super strong. I almost don't use this enough to really take advantage of how good this gun really is. I may even put this closer to the S tier. I don't play with it as much just because energy is so hard and everyone's playing with most of the energy weapons. So I usually bypass it, but this thing is a straight up monster, especially to those people that are very good at the hip fire with this thing. So if you are a hip fire guy and you are good at controlling the ammo and making sure that this thing doesn't heat up, this is the gun for you. Not to mention, it does have the new gun shield when you're ADS. So this, you know what? We should put it in the S tier. We're going to leave it in the A tier because that's what it would be for me. But some of you, this is most likely an S tier item, and great job to you. Now, I must say, as an M&K enjoyer, I do hate that we do not have the disruptor rounds for the PK anymore. But this thing, if you practice your aim and understand the choke on this and practice, with the bullet spread being shorter, this thing is a straight beast still. You do get punished for missing shots where having the Mozambique or the Akimbo 2020s would be better. However, if you stay consistent and practice with this, I still find it one of the best shotguns in the entire game. So what we're talking about here is just practice. Last two items up in the A tier are going to be the 99 and the Mastiff. Now, while some of you on Roller probably love the new R99, me, it just seems like it shoots way too fast and it feels a little bit inaccurate to me. Now, to be fair, this is a little biased because I've only been able to find this thing once or twice. You let me know in the comments below, is this thing cooking like people think it is? And like I said, the Mastiff received a pretty big bump. It looks like the pellets are much closer now. It does some serious damage. You can see here we're just frying people. There are OP weapons, I believe, but this would be the top of my list of a secondary weapon that is one of the most consistent ones in the game. Yes, it takes a little bit of practice understanding where to aim this thing. However, if you are consistent, the thing is just very consistent with hitting 75s nonstop. Okay, so just practice with it. It's going to be a gun that you're going to want. First up in the OP tier still, we've got two weapons. I think the Nemesis is super strong. I don't have a clip here because I'm not a huge personal fan, but I will tell you that the people that are good with this straight up fry you. So what I would say is if you're not using the Nemesis, pick it up, give it some time. You will be very thankful that you have that part of your kit. We have thousands of clips of Kraber. You can find them in every clip. We're not going to post it. The Kraber's still super nasty. Just make sure you have good follow-up with your team. Next, you got up both the Akimbo 2020 and the Mozambiques. These things, dual wielding, if you have them both, are strong regardless of the attachments. Now, I would argue if you're good at the PK or Master, they may be better, but these things are straight up frying. God forbid that 3 kids come into your building while you're holding one door and all 3 of them have this thing. You're getting fried. You're dying in less than a second. It's possible we could see a nerf, or people just need to adjust to being pushed a little bit quicker and play a little more protective, but these things are super strong, and not to mention they are very fun to play with. The 2020s, I've only been lucky to grab the gold ones 1 or 2 times, but I will tell you, you really want to be just hip firing unless you are in range of where you would shoot someone most likely with a rifle. That's when you would ADS them, and they still do some frying damage. In my opinion, the 2020 hits a little bit better. However, you pick which one you like more, but they do tons of damage. The Havoc's next up. It really hasn't skipped much of a beat. I know there was a slight hip fire nerf. However, with everyone running energy, it does get hard, but the pop-up turbocharger is still on the ground loot everywhere, so it's going to get picked up and still continue to be picked. And to be fair with you, I think it is still super strong, very close range compared to the rest of the ARs, up there with the flatline, which I also think is still OP. When I mean OP, I just mean still very strong. The magazine size didn't do much to it. I think it's still very strong. I don't even think it was necessarily needed, but it does help hold up against the Havoc and the amount of damage it puts out very quickly. And we don't need a lot of clips to tell you the flatline's strong, because you already know. The fact that this can be so strong, either being hip fired, mid to far range, I don't think this gun could be any more perfect currently for the meta of Apex Legends. Doesn't need a nerf, doesn't need a buff. As is, it's just beautiful. And last up, what I truly believe is one of the most OP items, it is the Devotion. So if you see this thing with Pathfinder's eyes coming down, I would make your little way over to the care package as soon as possible. Now, I expect it to be a little bit overpowered, but if you hear this thing charging up, you best get yourself out of the way. Listen, I just want to thank you for watching this entire video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. We answer every single comment, and anybody that stops by either the live stream or comments to ask to play always gets to. We love to help people improve at this game and find some passion in this. So as always, thank you so much for watching, gamers, and we'll see you back here next Sunday for the crypto video.